is, and you're welcome back. And don't forget, before we go tonight at 10, George Houston will be joining us. And looking forward, as always, to having a chat with George. But I have three gentlemen in front of me here now tonight. I'm delighted to have them. And we've got it's Dawn Ponsonby, and Dawn is here, and Liam Bradley, and of course Paddy Rooney from the Friends of the Letterkenny Hospital. Paddy, isn't that right? And you're very welcome, first of all.
Thank you very much.
Dawn, we're here. We probably didn't think we'd be having an event like this, but we are, and it's all as a recognition and support for yourselves, I suppose, and raise a few pound as well. And it's in memory, of course, of your brother Ted, who sadly passed away not so long ago. How's things been?
Well, it's up and down a bit. You know, you see different videos of him on playing, and you just think he's gone. Like, you just it's so hard to take it in. Like,
I know,
you know, and me and him sort of working together from I was about 11. And we started in the band when he had a breakaway from the Ponsonby band, and they were looking for a drummer, and I thought maybe I could do this.
Were you in the Rascals too?
I was in the Rascals.
Oh, yeah.
I left them in 75. Packed it in because different things were happening.
Might have been then I was dancing days. But they were doing big stuff. Like,
they were doing good stuff
all over the place.
It was a pleasure to be sort of working with Ted, and me and him run about when I was 7 or 8, even though he was 5 years older than me. We still run about together and done different things, you know.
Was music in the house, Dawn?
Music was basically in the house. My dad was a bit of a drummer in the early days,
right?
And then he done a wee bit of guitar, and then he went on to a wee bit of banjo. But it was always music of some kind going on, even in the wireless. I remember a wireless up on a bracket up on the
but come here,
the corner. Yes.
What instrument did you go into first?
I went on the drums.
Right, on the drums, right?
And I hadn't the good sense. I was just so much on the drums. I hadn't the good sense to say. We were sitting at dance halls for hours before anybody would come. I said, Ted, go and show me a few chords, teach me how to play the guitar. And I regret that so much. Really, really regret it. It's just.
But equally, and we were just talking off air there. There's a great video up of you. When was that done?
That was on the 8th. Was it Sunday, the 8th
of October here?
Of October, yeah.
Well, if you just want to check it out, it's the Mindbenders, and
30th anniversary.
30th, is that what it was?
That's what it was. That's what it was.
God.
We us three in particular, and there's a new guy on keyboards there, you know.
Well, come here, in it you're doing a drum solo, and it's something else now.
Well, thank you.
It definitely is.
Look, you can only do your best all the night. It's all. There's nothing planned on that. I just sort of go on it, as Liam probably will be able to tell you. If we don't like to sort of plan a drum solo,
yes, I know.
You sort of do whatever you can do and see what sounds you can get out of the kit that might sound nice or might, you know.
Was that your own kit?
That's my own kit.
Was it your own kit?
Yeah, it's a lovely kit and I just love it.
What makes that?
It's a DW.
Oh, very good.
But it's just so nice. And it was the first time I seen it in the shop in Dublin. I says,
you have to have it.
I need to get that.
How old's that?
That kit's probably 12, 15 years. At least.
The sounding is good.
The sound not too bad.
Well, we're here to talk. As I say, you have great memories. A lot of people, ourselves as well.
Absolutely.
As I say, I knew Ted before Ted knew me. As I say, but I knew Ted.
Yes.
Because of the Rascals and the name,
yes.
and you know, the following and that, and I heard him doing support to different people down through the years, and then when I got to know him, we got to know him very well, and we enjoyed his company. We loved his company, and strangely enough, myself and Jimmy and Mark McLean were talking, and we were in the process of having a night for Ted.
Yes.
Before he passed away, you see,
and because he's 60 years or more in the business, like.
And we said, but this is, you know, we have to get this, and unfortunately, the circumstances debate went a different direction. But because we were discussing it, how do Ted's like somebody just turn and say, I'm not going to. You're not doing something for me, and we didn't know how we would put it out.
I know,
that was it. But anyway, where we are now.
He has no choice now. We just.
That's it now. Do you think of it? What would he say to this? He would enjoy it.
I would say he would enjoy it.
Aye.
You know, because just he was such a humble person, really.
He was very much.
He helped so many young musicians, like.
But you know, Don, you see that yourself, and I'm sure you will agree with me. I never seen as many acknowledgements from young singers, performers, recording artists.
That's
right. And it's one thing that struck me, you know.
Which is great, like. And it gives us a lift to see that.
Of course.
You know, with the family. Just
that means
lifts
a
you
lot.
out of the doldrums, like.
Of course
Right
it
time.
does. Liam Bradley, you're very welcome. For me, it's a pleasure to see you because I have followed your career quietly in the background, looking and amazed by your. But there's one question I want to ask you, and what's the difference between a drummer and percussionist? Is there a difference?
That's a hard one. That's a hard one. Well, a drummer obviously plays a drum kit, a traps kit.
Yeah.
And a percussionist, well, I remember I got great advice off a guy called Noel Eccles, who's the principal percussionist in the National Symphony Orchestra. And I was asking him, I said, you know, percussion. He said, percussion is anything you can hit, shake, or scrape.
Right.
So
When I noticed that, because I described it as what you're saying, and I remember you, and I was trying to think coming down. I think it was Mary Black, and I don't know if it was in the Rialto, but it was definitely in the Forum, and I think you were accompanying in that time. And your name was brought up, but I in my head I went, a percussionist must be somebody that has. But you had a while of it.
well, it's
Things
funny.
around you.
It's funny because the guy that got me into percussion was a guy called Dave Early, and Dave Early was Mary's drummer. He was Mary Black's drummer. He was actually Sade's drummer back in the 80s.
That's
He was
right,
an Englishman from London, and he married a girl from Lurgan. And I was playing in the Memory Show Band in the Ashburn Hotel in Lurgan.
Did you play with the memories?
I did way back. That was my first professional gig. When I was 21, and the boys were all in their mid-30s. I was telling Don earlier on, I thought they were old men.
I know. Well, we had what do you call them on a couple of years ago before the pandemic? He brought them together again. He's living in Spain now.
Jimmy Barry.
Aye.
Jimmy, fantastic singer.
Lovely fella,
Amazing
too.
singer.
Lovely fella.
So it was Dave Earle, this guy, this local drummer said to me, Sade's drummer's in the audience. And I'm going, what would Sade's drummer be doing in the audience? Sure enough, up this boy comes. And he said, wee small fella, a very funny guy. And he says to me, he said, you do two things. If you do three things, you'll never be able to work. And I'm like, what do you mean? He said, you sing and you play drums, but if you play percussion. And he handed me a tape how to play congas. And it was via Dave then that I ended up meeting Artie McGlynn and all sorts. I started depping for Dave Early much later on. And the percussion thing allowed me, it gave me a route into folk music. And so I ended up playing with Dolores and all those people.
Yes.
Because I could play percussion. But I actually couldn't play percussion at the start.
Yes.
I owned percussion. That didn't mean that I could actually play it.
You're not a trained drummer.
I'm not a trained anything.
You picked this all up yourself, didn't you?
I'm not a trained anything. But that was very much the case in our time. You know, I don't know there are colleges and there are different routes for people to become professionals these days. In our day, it was an apprenticeship.
That's right.
You kind of picked stuff up as you went along. You know, it was whatever was in your dad's radiogram.
Yes.
It was Top of the Pops on a Thursday night or whatever. It was trying to tape things off the radio, trying to glimpse, well, how did you do that? And because you never quite got you couldn't cover a thing exactly right, so you ended up doing your own thing. And so I think everybody had their own unique way of playing, you know.
That's right.
Excellent. Now you record. You played on Mary Black's Circus album.
I think I did some backing vocals on that. That was me and Ted were actually on the road with somebody else. I can't remember who it was.
To me, that's her finest album.
So I did a few
album.
BVs and stuff on that.
And then you probably and I don't want to sound that I'm not. We'll talk about the gig. You know, where
Chat away.
we'll definitely talk about the gig, and Paddy will get chatting to you as well. So don't we?
No problem.
But you covered with Van Morrison a lot of times.
And so did Ted. You know, Ted played with Van. He didn't do any live stuff, but he recorded with him, and he did an awful lot of rehearsals with him up in Bangor. And Ted with Van they were a match made in heaven. But a bit Ted, in a very typical Ted fashion, would have been every bit as happy playing in the corner of the Bridge Bar as he would be playing with somebody else.
Yeah.
I was thinking about this since Ted passed, and it was a massive shock to everybody, because there was something about when you knew that Ted was there, it was a very comforting thing.
Do you know we said the
You
same?
actually
very
said- you
comforting
said that
thing.
on one of your
It's a
shows.
very comforting thing knowing that
That's
Ted
right.
was there and he was in your life.
You were safe
I'd be
hands.
sitting here.
You know?
I'm not joking you now, Liam. I'd be sitting here saying we're just saying somebody's coming up, and I would maybe somebody, and I wouldn't have known. You know, you don't know what style they're going to have. So you'd be sitting here like us chit chatting to you and looking like that. And the young fella's coming on saying that Ted's behind him, that's dead on. Pressure's off my head, you know, and that's in a good way, you
I
know.
think this might have happened up here because Paul Casey was telling me that Paddy Nash had rung Paul when he heard about Ted. And you guys were doing a session up here. Ted was in with Paul,
Aye.
and then Paddy came in, and they'd never met, and Ted had never met Paddy, didn't know his music.
Oh, is that right?
And then all of a sudden, Ted just joined in.
Joined in, aye.
And Paddy was amazed at this, that he'd never heard the music, and he said it was incredible.
You're a great entertainer.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. So the whole point, what I was thinking about Ted was that it's this enormous effect on people, and I think I'd come to the conclusion that Ted Ponsonby is the only person I've ever met that was entirely his own man every waking hour of the day. And you can say that about most people have a public and a private face.
Yes.
Ted had a face.
Do you know, you're right. And
You
you're not-
knew who Ted was all the time.
Exactly.
There was
You-
never.
you
there
knew
was-
he stood with
There's
him,
no
like.
artifice at
No.
all. And if Ted wanted to do something, he'd do it with gusto. If Ted didn't want to do something, as you could quite well know, he just
That
wouldn't
was
do
it.
He'd far rather be sitting watching Star Trek in the house, you know,
He used to wind him up.
playing, as playing on the Royal Albert Hall.
We used to wind him up about the ukulele.
Oh,
You say such is coming on now playing the ukulele. You go, what? Oh, no. But, I know it was in
aye.
jest like it
Oh,
was, you know.
oh,
But this night anyway, is in the it's in the Clanree here, and it's on Monday, the 6th. It's this day fortnight.
This day
That's
fortnight.
And I think it's a brilliant idea. And the funds, anything that's been raised, Paddy, we can bring you in here. And thanks for joining us, by the way, probably. But Paddy, your role is your PRO for the hospital.
yeah.
And what does that involve, Paddy? Just basically, you know.
Well, I suppose before I get on to that, I can see that you followed Don and Liam's musical career. It's a good job you didn't follow mine. Because when I seen the seats lined up here, I thought I was going to have to play an instrument. Right. Well, the Friends of the Hospital it's a registered charity, even though all of the money that we raise or comes our way, it all goes into the hospital. But we're a registered charity. We're actually separate from the hospital. We have our own governance structure and all that. And I have to say, I suppose, at the outset that, I'm highly appreciative of Dawn and Liam, and it's Sarah as well. That's Sarah that it's organising this, and I suppose the wider Ponsonby family for thinking about us, the Friends of the Hospital, because there's a lot of charities out there, Paul, and we're all sort of fishing out of the same pool, and it's nice for us to for them to think about us.
It's a harder climb now, Paddy, isn't it? It's hard work now.
It is. It's hard work, but I suppose there's a couple of things. We were talking in the anteroom there before we came in about. I suppose in the latter years of his life, Ted used a lot of the services in the hospital, so it's nice from our point of view that, that the family are showing appreciation for
That's
that.
nice. That is nice.
It is. It's lovely to think about that,
It's
know.
lovely. Well, on the night, Liam, can you give us a list? Now, this is a who's who, basically, and I would say you're probably going, maybe left somebody out here. With how,
Well,
how-
we decided to give it a kind of a nod to Ted, because Ted was known as in our circle as Ted Ponsonby, because he was very quick with a pun, and he was a
very
wordsmith.
good, yes.
His favourite TV show was Breaking Bad. The album that he had with Sarah was called Breaking Trad, so we've decided to call this night Waking Ted.
So,
And it is kind of, there wasn't really an opportunity for people to be in a room and tell all their stories about Ted.
yes.
It's about people getting together and sharing all those funny stories that you normally get at an Irish wake.
Yes, yes.
So it's going to be a very grand Irish wake. in a
Wake and
sense.
Ted.
We're going to have two stages. This was Dawn's idea. An electric stage and an acoustic stage, but really it's a stage that has a drum kit on it, and then the other one doesn't have a drum kit on it.
Right.
So,
right.
John Nee is going to MC it.
Excellent,
And
John.
kind of we're going to try and put some structure on it, but no doubt that will fall asunder
Exactly.
pretty quickly, and that's okay. We're going to open it with a piece that's been written by Faker Trench, who's a really famous string arranger. Did all Have I Told You Lately? All the strings, all the Van Morrison albums. Faker did all those. He was a big friend of Ted's and Dave Winters, and he's written a lovely piece dedicated to both Ted and Dave. So we're going to open with that.
Which is lovely.
Have you heard it, Don?
I have heard it, yeah. Beautiful. That's
Lovely.
beautiful.
You know, that's a lasting thing you're going to have. It's going to be
Well,
a great
that's- yeah.
lasting
Oh,
memory.
That's great. And even Sarah as well, she wrote a wee tune
That's
for me.
right.
She played at the cremation day.
That's lovely.
Beautiful too.
Aye.
like.
It'll be emotional.
Absolutely.
Well, we're hoping it's going to be great fun.
Oh, without a
we'll see,
doubt.
but
We're hoping it's going to be great fun.
He'd want the fun side of
he'd
it,
want-
like
he
to-
would absolutely. You know, I'm only a blow-in when it comes to knowing Ted. I've only known him since 1990. But I've
It's
been
not that long.
laughing- but I laughed. I've been laughing ever since.
Yes, yeah.
And you know, I owe that man an awful lot. You know, he was just like a musical daddy to me. So I'll a quick rundown. The Mindbenders obviously are going to
Yes,
be there because
yes.
Dawn's going to, and they'll finish the night off. Mark Black, Honky Tonk Heroes,
Oh, brilliant.
Storm Chaser, Frankie Robinson, Faker Trench will obviously open it. Hopefully Errol Walsh, Colin Henry, and Joe Murray will be there, though they're not back to me at the minute. Raw, hopefully the Henry Girls, Hugh McLean, Gino Lapari, Brendan Quinn, Tanya McCole,
Wow.
Paul Casey, Martin McGinley, etc., and many, 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 many more.
And Martin's brother was here playing just prior to
Well,
that.
there you
There's a connection.
So I
right
mean,
through.
the idea initially we kind of thought we'll give everybody 3 tunes each. I think if we did that now, we'd be playing to the following Monday.
Yes, I get you.
So it'll work itself out on the night. you
So,
know.
absolutely. Now, the way it works, Liam, there's no set fee.
There's no fee. Come along,
Great,
enjoy
perfect.
yourself, swap stories about Ted, meet your friends, bring as many people as you want, and Paddy and his guys will be there, and they'll be collecting just
For
donations.
a donation.
You know.
Do you know that's a lovely gesture?
Aye. Well, it's you
We
know
just got
it makes
confirmation from the Rednecks there.
Aye, they're
coming
playing.
along,
They're
So,
doing it well. So we're still we only started asking people about this a few days ago.
Aye.
So you know,
And have you noticed it kind of
oh aye,
getting?
absolutely. I think the only thing that'll keep people away is if they're just physically not here.
Yes.
The
But we-
governors as well.
the governors as well.
The governors.
Oh, the
from
governors.
Savannah,
Ah,
they're-
very good.
We're always going to run into the problem of leaving somebody out.
They
you know.
There's
were
a
up-
brief story about the governors.
The governors, that's right.
They took over the name Rascals. Ted gave them the name
That's right.
Rascals
I
in
remember
84
that. I
when he-
remember
when he
that.
stopped, and he helped those guys a while. Lot them boys have great appreciation for him.
His name was
Andy
mentioned.
Davis.
Andy
obviously.
Davidson, of
Andy-
course, was.
And they played drums with him
their
after
name-
I left. Actually,
The name was mentioned because Alan, wasn't it? Alan was up here. Alan Wilders along
I'm
with
the
his
daughter.
his
Yes.
daughter,
Chloe.
Chloe, and she's an amazing singer.
Beautiful.
But we're like yourselves. The conversation drifted into there, Pat, because you like to get when somebody comes like we experience.
Yes.
And he's sitting there. You go for it, and you
much
get
as
it.
you
And,
can.
and he did acknowledge what he
yes.
had done and what you know,
Absolutely,
and which
yes.
was lovely because they had a couple of good years out of the
They have,
Rascals
surely,
as well,
yeah, that's right.
and they were brilliant as well.
Aye.
And still, the boys
Yeah.
are still hanging about and doing their stuff.
Oh, sure.
So that's the format,
Mm-hmm.
and it's unfortunately. We'll be here, but we're hoping that Jimmy will be going down and we'll be sort of back
Yes.
and forward. So
Great.
annoying people we will.
Have you
Right,
there? It'll be
fantastic.
great, and we appreciate you doing this for us. It's
No,
very much appreciated.
I, as me, totally appreciate what Ted was. Appreciate the whole thing, and Liam, as I say, it's. I could sit and chat to you for another couple of hours about music and stuff because I kind of know your pedigree. It's just one notch off Stocking. You know what I mean?
Yes.
You worked in a lot of Van Morrison stuff.
I've bluffed on an awful lot of stuff. I'm just, no, I have. Listen, I'm still making it up as I go along.
Well, the thing about it, that's all very well, and in fairness, Liam, as much as Van Morrison would be Van Morrison, I don't think you're going to bluff too much for him. Like,
well, you know what? But honestly,
wouldn't be there.
But you know
He
what?
wouldn't be there.
I'm standing on the shoulders of people like Ted Ponsonby. You know, it's meeting people with his pedigree, and the one great thing I learned about from Ted.
Yeah.
Was the most important thing on any stage is to number one, not take it too seriously. Number two, smile, especially when things are going wrong. And he was the first person I'd ever come across that, and it's infectious.
It is.
Absolutely infectious.
There's no doubt about that. Well, listen, as I say, people go along. It's going to be. You're going to hear more about it. Don't you know? Good luck, Dawn, from the Woodville crew. There
Perfect.
you are. Thank you very
Lovely.
much indeed. So, one of life's true gentlemen. I met Liam when he played with Nathan Carter a few times. One of the industry's finest from Barney, Nathan's old tour manager.
Barney, good.
There you go.
Barney,
You play with Nathan Carter as well.
I did. In 2014, I got a call from his MD to say, funny, it's that percussion thing that I was talking about.
See.
Play percussion and a bit of a job.
Yes, yes.
He said, I don't need a drummer. We have a great drummer. He said, but I do need somebody to play sleigh bells. It was a Christmas tour. So I mostly played sleigh bells.
So you have the wee bells hanging there, obviously, that your normal run-of-the-mill drummer wouldn't have.
Exactly.
Very good.
That's
very
excellent. Well, listen, I know it's going to be a success. It's going to be because the outpouring, the love, and the shock of Ted's passing. You know, I remember sat in the house and we went over things and we looked at videos and anyway, listen, I know Ted would be looking down and supporting it, Don. There's no doubt about that.
No
Paddy,
question, yes.
Thanks very much to yourself. I didn't get much of a conversation. Have you had a brought a guitar with you?
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's lovely anyway, Paul, because a lot of the funds that we get are actually unsolicited funds. It's like what Don and Liam and Sarah are doing here. They just do things, I suppose, as a show of gratitude for our services in the hospital or whatever. We don't have to do anything, only go out and lift it. So, like, hats off to the guys for thinking about us, you know.
Well done to yourself too.
Hopefully we get a few pounds, you know.
And continue success of what you're doing,
Oh,
because
thank you.
it's a hard. I know that, you know, with different things you get involved in. It's very hard to pull in money. But Dawn, it'll be a great night. It'll be as you said yourself, Liam. It'll be a bit of crack too, isn't it? And that's what it's all
That's the
about.
whole idea.
And now when we're here, we want to wish you all the best for tomorrow, because there's people who've made commitments to come up here, but not the day before they get married. So the best of luck, Don. The best of luck.
Thanks very much.
And no, you know, if it's still going at 10 o'clock, we'll be down after 10
I'll
o'clock.
still be going.
We'll be popping in for a bit of crack.
Call in if you could.
Just to see
if
the.
it suits you, if it doesn't.
Oh,
suit,
don't worry about that. It'll suit
understand
us, you know.
totally.
No, so
There's homes to go to, as the same as the rest of us.
it's a Wake and Ted. It's on the 5th of November.
The
6th of November, beg your pardon. It's the 5th
Monday the
of
6th.
Monday the 6th. This day, 2 weeks. And I don't have to say too much about it. It's going to be a brilliant night of music. And I just want to thank you very, very much, Paddy and Liam and Dawn. Thank you so much. It's lovely to have you up for a bit of crack and a chat. And you're working at the minute, Liam, are you?
I am doing. I was with Mary Black in Killarney at the weekend, and then next weekend we're in Limerick and Dunleary. And then
Excellent. Any new music coming from her?
I'll ask her.
Just say.
No, I have no
Just say there's a boy up there in Donegal wants to know you're making any new music.
I'll ask her.
But we'll finish with a piece of music, and Don, this is the story behind this. Just amazing. It's Ted and Earl Walsh, and you wouldn't believe. Many nights we get asked, go and play the John Dunne Waltz, and do you know what? We'll just let it speak for itself. Thanks very much indeed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers.
All the best.